Namaste and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth, and opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake lie or imagination. So, why India punches below its weight? Now, there are many reasons actually. Now, let me tell you what is the weight of India. India has the world's largest volunteer military force on the planet. India has the strongest, you can say, individual military training in the world. In fact, the best of the best, I'm talking about the American best and Western best, want to train with Indian forces. It is a known fact that one of the military generals told me from India, he told me that an American paratrooper once told him that they do 250 jumps. After they do 250 jumps from an aircraft, they are considered super experienced veterans. And he was saying we do 250 in a year. In a year. So there's a lot of difference in military training, the capacity, the fighting willpower. The 1962 Chinese war on India was a Chinese defeat actually in a way, because the political leadership of India did not act. That's how Chinese were able to make inroads into Indian borders. That was the only exception because of the Indian political leadership. But every single incident with Chinese forces has been defeated by India. So there are many such incidents we can see. So with the largest railways in the world, passenger traffic, biggest airports in terms of traffic, the engineering projects, the space program, the indigenous submarine, nuclear submarine programs. In fact, every single bank in the world is supported by an Indian. Every single healthcare system in the world supported by an Indian. And I'm talking about the world, not just few countries here and there, all the countries. And with the 17% of world's population, virtually every fifth person in future is going to be an Indian. There's so much political power and human capital, I would say, but still it punches below the weight. In terms of other capacities like medical, the Indian research, Indian medicine, Indian pharma, and India means a Hindu country. It doesn't mean any other nation. The majority of the production of all these things I'm saying are Hindus. It's an Indian nation, Hindu country. That's a native culture and religion of India. So why, with all these backgrounds, all these things, why it appears that it is punching below the deck, below the punching below its weight? So a lot of weight of India. Now, other things I can say, which the West probably, may not understand, that the India has the largest intelligence services in the planet. And I don't know if there is any political directive to them to work globally, not just defending all the time, because the West is not defending. West is attacking India constantly. In a small country, I mean, in terms of population, USA is just one fourth of India. And in terms of capacity, capability, and everything else, the what US has accumulated is still unproportionate to its population or the size of the economy, because the economy is driven by a fiat dollar, which is which in real terms I would say, in PPP terms, purchasing power parity terms, that's the actual way to measure other economies, then the India is automatically the third largest economy. So with all that economic weight, but still it appears that India is pleading with Western countries. It appears. And the West has played all games against India, divided India into Pakistan and Bangladesh. And look at those failed countries today. Afghanistan, failed country. All these are failed countries which the West has created just to subdue the Hindus, the natives of India. But now, after independence, we have not seen anything where India is playing up to the par or up to its capability, real capability. Even today, Indian politicians appear to beg for a seat in the Security Council. If suppose an imagination, if India were to withdraw from UN, that means 17% of the world population withdraws from the United Nations. What is the value of United Nations after that? If India withdraws from WHO, what is the value of WHO? If India withdraws from any other international institution, what is the value of that institution? If India were to withdraw its cooperation, military cooperation, or space cooperation with any of the Western countries, what is going to happen to them? There'll be a large mass of India, and the Indian Ocean will be ungovernable with literally without India's permission. So a lot of capability India has developed in a very peaceful way. And on top of it, most of the Indians, any part of the world, are peace loving people. They are never a law and order problem. They are never breaking anybody's laws. They work as per the local laws. They contribute positively despite not being represented in the country. Like for example, in US, every sixth doctor or seventh doctor is an Indian. And despite serving the American society, they are not asking for anything, not even a political position. They work within the political framework of this country, obeying the constitution. Now, that is a big asset. They are not a nuisance factor in any country whatsoever, not just any part of the world. Then why India punches below its weight? India's weight should be disproportionate to what they are actually doing right now. So let's move to the real reasons right now. Why? So over the years, and that's our mission of Sattology, debunking mythology. Over the years, we have seen the word mythology has played with the psyche of many, many people. The word mythology has destroyed the real identity of every single country where it has been used. But the maximum use of mythology has been against the ancient histories written in Sanskrit in the form of Ramayana and Mahabharata and Purana. All three are real documents, are the real histories, are the real incidents recorded live. Now, over the years, the word mythology was used to discredit the Hindus of their past. If you look at the Hindus, natives, indigenous populations of all over the world are one. It's a common culture. Whether it's in Russia or in Scandinavia or in South America or in European native populations, Irish native populations, British native populations, which are Saxons. Saxons were not Christians. And any of those populations, if you see, Southeast Asian native populations, Filipino native populations, Australian Aborigines, New Zealand's Maoris, African indigenous people who have not yet converted to Islam and Christianity, all these people share their religion, culture commonly with Hindu or Sanatan Dharma. They share everything common they have. So it's a big population. So we are talking about 50% of world's population still believe in native thoughts, indigenous thoughts. And the word spirituality is the domain of the native indigenous Hindu people and Hindus. It's a domain of them because the indigenous people follow the same beliefs like Hindus would do, taking care of the earth, worshipping sun as a source of life, worshipping moon as a source of food, and helping the water bodies. So all these different natural symbols are part of Hindu culture, which is primarily India. So and such a big commonality amongst all the cultures. And India has the largest population of people who believe in spirituality because the Hindu culture is spirituality. Yoga, Om, meditation, vegetarianism, all these things have come from India. Compassion, kindness, purity of thought, purity of purpose, purity of actions, all these things have come from India. The greatest philosophers in the world, the number one is Krishna himself, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a source of all philosophies. All philosophies is India. Veda, Purana, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the quality of the benchmarks of honesty, integrity, intelligence, culture, all coming from India. All of them. In fact, whenever I go to holistic event, a holistic event is not complete without an Indian. It's not possible. And the entire global South phenomena led by the Indians, where global South includes all the indigenous native communities with so many things. The word yoga is today practiced by almost 3 billion people on the planet. 3 billion people across cultures. Even Saudi Arabia has a yoga center now. Even Saudi Arabia. In US and Europe, there is the yoga economy is almost $6 to $8 billion. That's a yoga economy. And so with all that contribution, still India appears to play below its weight. Who is to be blamed? Now, a small country from Europe, pick up any country, Macedonia, Luxembourg, Poland, small countries, their populations will be less than the suburb of one city of India. They have the same vote as India in the United Nations. And India has never threatened the UN to leave the UN because practically doesn't serve any purpose. Why? The problem is in India also, the problem is lack of identity. Even today, the colonial systems have played havoc with the Indian politicians' minds. When Indian politicians say or come to US to canvass for utopian ideas in the US, shows what really is the problem in India. The leader of opposition and all these people are funded and operated by those who don't want India to rise. But India itself carries a big intelligence services. The problem is decision making. Why can't they decide things? Why they cannot take decisions? Why they cannot take tough decisions? Because they have been told to comply, seek validation, not in the Indian thought process, to take validation from the Western thought process. Why will a Western thought process would let India take tough decisions? Not possible. It's against their interest. So they're doing the right thing by bribing, interfering with those Indians who want to be the slaves. They're choosing to be slaves. So the people who want to be slaves seek validation. Because the moment you seek validation, you are a slave. And the people who do not seek validation, take decisions, the West automatically won't like it. And I'm talking about the academic institutions. I'm talking about the political circles, agencies. I know you can understand what I mean by agencies. They would not like anyone who doesn't seek validation. That's a classical intelligence operation. Why would such people will be targeted? Because they know those people are weak. And why do India doesn't take tough decisions against those who seek this kind of validation? The problem is identity crisis. So on one hand, they're proud of their culture and religion, and very rightly so, their language, their food, their religion, and the method of worship. They must be proud. Everyone should be proud of it. But on the other hand, while defending, you have to act in a different parameter. You have to define someone as an enemy and a friend. If the West decides to treat India as an enemy, India also has the right to treat them as enemy. And the same principles have to work, which the West has used against them, they have to use against the West. But why? Why they are not doing it? Classical question, which is a really a Sattology question. Sattology question is because we do not have yet got the right interpretation of our ancestors. Most of the Indian ancestors, I would say, go 500 years back, 1000 years back, and were warriors, and they took independent decisions, made India the richest country of the planet. India was the richest country of the planet till 18th century, 19th century. Today it is the third richest country. I would say unofficially it's still the richest country today. Much, much, way more richer than United States. United States has big roads and Apple phones and smartphones, but India has tons of gold. It's the world's largest gold consumer. Largest. Just unofficial estimates say in last 2 to 3 years, 25,000 tons of gold was consumed, means disappeared in India. People just bought it on Diwali and Dhanteras. Makes India rich. Even one temple, one Hindu temple, just one Hindu temple, has a wealth of $50 billion plus. One Hindu temple. And despite all the government controls, believe me, if there were no Hindu temples, every single state department, state government of India will be bankrupt. Every single state government. Because the Hindu temples run India. Whatever we can say about exports and all those things, it's the Hindu taxes on Hindu temples run India. Period. Whether you are a Muslim, you are not a Muslim in India because you are eating from the Hindu temple. Nobody is Christian in India because you're eating from a Hindu temple. And nobody is any other religion in India because you're eating from a Hindu temple. The moment you eat from a Hindu temple, you're done. You are a Hindu. So, despite everything else going on in the world, still India is punching below the weight. The first reason is identity crisis. Indian foreign policy still seeks validation. In the name of friendship, you don't do friendship with enemies. You have clear decision making with enemies. You 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 have lost when you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. It's classical saying. You get what you negotiate. And we have not seen a single strong negotiation. Like somebody is denying technology to you, somebody is denying aircrafts to you. It should be the matter of national shame that we cannot develop an engine. We can send people to Mars, we can send people to Moon, we can build satellites which nobody else can build. We can take a hairpin picture from 800 kilometers above the sky, hairpin, and that too covered by a roof. Still, we can take it. That's the power of Indian satellites today. But we can't make an aircraft engine. I know my own colleagues from engineering can do that. My own colleagues can do that. They have the confidence and they have done it. And we don't have to steal from anyone. In fact, the UCR Wine, one engineer from UCR Wine, stole data from Indian Vedic Shastra and built an new aircraft design. And we didn't do that, despite having the best engineering schools of the world. I mean, I was telling somebody, not a single American would be able to clear Indian UPSC exam. It won't possible. Not a single American or European combined. The entire Europeans and Americans cannot clear Indian entrance examinations, the world's toughest UPSC, to become an IS officer of India. Cannot do that. Most of them cannot even get into Indian IITs. I mean, if there is a comparative, not easy for anybody of them, any one of them. So, with such kind of capacity, why would India appear to beg to other countries? Because Indians are not following, many of us Hindus, we are not even following our own culture. I mean, we have gone so far away from our own culture. The art of negotiation, the art of all these are mentioned in Mahabharata. I've captured in my books. How to govern. Narad Muni is so clear. And when I see so much of pain in the hearts of people, a lack of decision making. The first duty of a king, according to Narada, is to protect his own people. The first duty, with weapons, not by talks. Today, today the biggest weapon is social media. It can create revolutions. The West is using it extensively everywhere. Venezuela, we saw in other countries, Cuba. Now we are seeing in Mexico. Just today, the people who were opposing the judicial reforms invaded Mexican parliament. Who supported them? And these people don't even hide it. Somebody from Washington D.C. was supporting it. It's a clear regime-changing operations against the will of Mexican people. Venezuela, so many countries we have seen, but a country of 1.4 billion people, India, doesn't have its own social media platform. It's a shame, national shame for Indians, for all of us. A leader of opposition comes to USA, and there is so much love of Americans towards India. Rishikesh, Vrindavan, Varanasi, these are the most favorite places for Americans because they're looking for answers in those places, not in Mumbai and urban centers of India. They already tried it in the US, it doesn't work long term. They're looking for meditation, they're looking for yoga, they're looking for Shiva, Ganesh, Krishna, Ram, and India has that. But we don't see the promotion of those places as extensively by the Indian embassies. Indian embassies must be the embassies of Sanatan Dharma or the Hindu culture. That's what they should promote extensively because that can bring peace. That's what people are looking for. I see more tattoos of Ganesh in Mexico than any other tattoos locally over there sometimes. Maybe I move in those circles, that's why. So, a lot of things we need to think about. Why do we punch below its weight, below our weight? I mean, I don't think so. There is any politician in the world can take an Indian politician lightly. But Indian member of parliaments, just to give an example, that every member of parliament needs at least 200,000 votes to win the elections. 200,000 votes each. And if you look at the local county and other elections, just to give an example, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, throughout all his election life, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, he has won 900 billion votes. Not a single politician in the world can match that. Not a single politician. So, will India compare itself to Monaco or Canada? Canada is a illegal occupation. Its actual name in the native language Kanata. Illegal occupation from the Anglo-Saxons. Whimsically divided territory. The whole country is illegal. Still a monarchy. I mean, can anyone compare to Canada? No. It's just one city of India, less than a city of India, smaller than Mumbai population. Just like in marketing, the country's worth is marketing. The number of people make up a market. Similarly, a country size is built on the number of people. It can be densely populated, but a large country. So, can Indian politicians let down their own? So, every single war India has won, but Indian politicians have lost it because they were purchased by the West. They're bought over in the name of democracy. For what? For some validation. Right from Jawaharlal Nehru. India did not get independence. India snatched independence from British. India kicked out the British people, and along with the religion and culture and also the language. So we need to understand. The problem is the English speaking people of India, including I'm speaking English to teach you. I love Hindi to speak in Hindi or Marathi. So we all need to get deep into why why we need Sattology so much now to start defending ourselves through education. We have 12x debunking mythology course, which everybody should do it. And we have made it absolutely free, only donation based. So you can do it if you just do the course at least. Because all these cover the dharma, karma, yoga, why to worship, why karma is important, why to worship Ganesh, why to worship different deities, what is the purpose, why, what is the history which has been not been taught. The entire Aryan religion theory was a fake theory. It's reverse. It's the Indians who moved out of India. Zoroastrianism is Hindu culture. Zoroastrians may not agree, but they need to go back and read their books more better than me. I have done their books. It's an offshoot of Hindu culture, completely guided from Hindu. The entire Buddha culture in China is actually coming from India, Hindu culture. It's Hindu culture, Mongolian culture. A lot of wrong history about Genghis Khan has been done. Genghis Khan was a Mahakal devotee, Mahadev devotee. Tengrism is Mahadev worship. There is not a single place in entire Asia which was not following the Hindu culture. Unfortunately, the Indian politicians don't know it. Indian Ministry of Culture doesn't know it. Indian Foreign Office doesn't follow it. But they do write books. They write great books. S. Jaishankar writes great books. But there is no action on the foreign policy. I mean, if India were to follow what is their according as per their culture, there'll be not a country in this world can survive the power of Indian intelligence and other agencies. Far more intelligent, far more intelligent. The IQ level is extremely high. I mean, I always joke, Einstein's high IQ level is for the upper limit for the Western people. It doesn't apply to Indians, doesn't apply to Dharmic people. No. Because the yoga makes even the intelligence much finer. Einstein had too many faults. So, and why we are even following that model altogether? We need to build our own models. Not a single university in USA can survive without Indian students. Not a single. If India was to put a ban or block Indian students from coming to universities, there'll be no employees left in American university system. Believe me. That's the power. I don't know why it is not being used. If India puts a sanctions on the US or any other country in the West or Australia or New Zealand, that no Indian student will ever come to the United States. There'll be no US education system running after that. Done. Check the data. I'm not even saying that. Check it out. How much revenues do they get? In Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada. I'm talking all these five eyes. UK. If India were to move their car manufacturing back to India, there'll be no auto industry left in the UK. And if India were to stop supplying tea to UK, there'll be no black tea left in UK. Believe me, Tetley tea is owned by Indians. Believe me what I'm saying. Believe me. It's the largest producer of black tea in the world. Rubber. I know Malaysia is also prominent. So there are a lot of things Indian politicians do not, they know better than me, but they are not using it. The West is using everything they have got to the limit, including some lies. And India is not even using 5% of what they have. 5%. Think about it. Hindi is the world's third largest language after English and Mandarin. But if we say Sanskrit based languages, if I say Sanskrit based languages, then the entire world is Sanskrit based languages. All European languages Sanskrit based. Not Indo Proto European, no, Indian, Hindu. Sanskrit is Hindu. Why we are ashamed to say that? Caucasian means Hindu. Anyway, so I think this podcast did in English so that people, and it's a live one, you can ask me questions here. I want Indian politicians to defend Hindu rights, indigenous rights, native rights more vigorously from today onwards. It's a dire need for spiritual life in every single country. And India has to punch at its weight, neither below nor above, with the largest military force, voluntary military force, and undisclosed number of nuclear weapons, fourth strongest navy in the planet, fourth strongest air force in the planet, and the strongest army. I mean, they have to act like that. Cannot act like a small banana republic like Pakistan, which is entirely a CIA operation, or Bangladesh, a new CIA operation. How long can we defend? And it's also, and that's the whole the topics of Sattology, science of truth, the study of truth. So do join our courses, build your identity, do meditation, very important, and live a clean life. And that's what India gives. I'm proud to be born in India. That's what India gives us. That's India's gift to the world. But you cannot have the world respect you until you believe in your strength and willing to use that strength where needed, when needed. British Navy or entire British forces today are just 10% of Indian forces. 10% only. Still they send their two ships. A lot of things too. I think the world is ready for India, provided India is ready for the world. As simple as that. I was reading on statistics that the most good looking men are from India now. It's natural. 1.4 billion people. It's just natural. And women too. And that is proved long back before. So, how long India will be just a market? We don't need all that nonsense. The world needs Ayurveda. The world needs healthy lifestyle. The world needs meditation. The world needs peace. And you cannot give peace without strength or without the threat of using strength. And the world's oldest intelligence agency in the world was set up almost 3,200 years ago. And even during the time of Ramayana and Mahabharata. I mean, that is our heritage. If you want to play intelligence games, I mean, we are the masters. Our entire history is filled with that. I don't know when we'll use it, but it is a wake up call because the world needs today. I hope my short video, I know it has less views, can go out, reach out to more and more people, and can help us to move forward. So I'll take one or two questions, and I think some people have joined. So we'll cover a lot of these topics at this time in English language, so many people can listen to it. Jai Shri Ram, thank you very much. Jagan, yes, I did in English because I know you will understand English. So thank you all very much. Kamla aunty आने वाली है. I do not know that, Jagan. I do not know that. Still very much good. That's right, Jagan. That's right. India GDP, yes, absolutely. Third largest Ajit. Bharat Extreme, and it is the crux of absolutely. Pranam. Thank you very much, Akshay. And we need teachers who create leadership. Bharat. Saffron Man, we have many courses. We have 12x debunking mythology course. Plus, we are also launching transcending the mind experience courses as an affiliate program. So you can also join them. So we have many such courses. We have 6 courses now. Sattology is offering, and you can join any of them to gain advantage from advantage. You know? Butters Nano, you are right, Guruji. Thank you very much, Butters. I do not know who you are, but thank you very much. I like your name. So thank you all for joining. I think we'll keep it that short. And every evening I'll be there at this time. Mine is a evening time for me. Is 8 p.m. And for you will be in the morning. And some of you in the US will be 8 p.m. same time or much later. Thank you all. Do like, share, subscribe. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And we'll serve more than before. We are also determined. And we'll see each other tomorrow at the same time and also catch up our shows in the evening today, which is will be California morning. Namaste and Jai Jagannath.